are going to set up this new CRM. And basically we're starting from scratch. That way you can kind of walk alongside me as I go. So first things first, we're going to check and make sure our settings are correct. So we're going to come down here. We're inside of our account in DallowryFlow. We're going to come all the way down to settings. And we're going to look at our business profile, make sure that all those settings are accurate. So we've got the logo loaded. That's great. We do have the correct email address. This business phone number is actually not correct because we've purchased a phone number here. I highly recommend this because then it is not your phone number that you're having to call from. So we're going to copy actually this toll-free number. We're going to come back and we're going to paste that in there. The other thing I'm going to make sure of is that that toll-free number is the default, which it's not. So we need to reset this to the default. Now, I recommend you have one local number, one toll-free number. Local number just means that when you're calling out here, it's going to be local, but your texting will come from your toll-free number. So back to our business profile. We've got the website in there. We've got the home services. This address needs to be updated. Okay. Make sure you do have your time zone set properly, especially if you are going to be utilizing calendars. We're going to hit update here. We're going to hit update. Oh, didn't save that phone number. Update. Next, this is the point of contact, the very top point of contact. Again, this phone number, really, we want to use this secondary phone number here because we don't want our personal numbers being attached to any emails or anything going out. So that is where you're going to utilize this second number. Business profile. We'll come down here, paste and update. We've got all our registration information in here. Now on these, we are actually going to uncheck. I confirm I've discussed. I confirm I ensure. I confirm I ensure. Disable opt-out. And we're going to hit confirm. And I'm going to teach you how to build out your unsubscribe information. We're going to unsubscribe to this as well. And we're going to unsubscribe from this email automation as well. Okay, now that all three of those are gone, let's go set those up before we forget. First things first, we're going to do our stop unsubscribe. So we're going to come in here to automations. We're going to create a workflow, start from scratch. And this is going to be our stop unsubscribe. I highly recommend you name every single one of your workflows or it's going to be a nightmare trying to find them later. Your new workflow is going to be when a customer replies and contains the phrase stop. We're going to save that trigger. That just means how is the customer entering this workflow? That way you don't have to manually put them in there. And then we're going to search for our DND, which just means do not disturb. And we're going to do DND for specific channel, enable it. And that's going to be for our SMS because that is what they're texting stop back to. We're going to publish and save. Now we don't have to worry if somebody texts back stop, it's automatically going to unsubscribe them from that list. Now the email unsubscription is a little bit more complicated. First, we need a form because a form is how we're going to get a trigger link. And a trigger link is how we're going to enter this campaign. So step by step, we're going to go to sites. We're going to go to forms. We're going to add a form, start from scratch. When you make a new form, in order to rename it so that's, you're not going to remember what form number 5 is. So we're going to go to styles, options, and we're going to hit unsubscribe form. We're going to add text here. And then if we click on it, we can edit here in this right-hand column. And we're going to put thank you for unsubscribing. Or let's say you have now successfully been unsubscribed from Benson's. You do want to put the company name from Benson's mailing list. You can change the font size, which I recommend here. You can make it go in the middle. You can make it go all sides. I kind of like that one. Let's maybe take it down just a little bit more. And then I'm going to add one more layer of text. If you've done this action by accident, please click below to resubscribe. I'm going to change the font again. This one I'm going to make a little bit smaller, and I don't want it to be all in caps. If you've taken this action by accident, please resubscribe by hitting the button below. And this one, let's make it in the center. Now we're going to add a button. If you need it to go in a different order, just click and drag. I like my buttons to be full width most of the time. So if you click on the button over here on this right-hand panel, it says full width. I like my buttons to be green if it's a positive action, red if it's a negative action. I like my text to be the opposite color. So if it's green, I like it to be really dark. So I'm going to go black. If it was white, I'd want it to be, or if it was red, I'd want it to be white, stuff like that. So I'm going to change it to a 24-point font, which is just right here on the size. And then you can change what it says here. And I like this to be in all caps, resubscribe to Benson's mailing list. I'm going to save this. So now here's the trick. This is now an unsubscribe form, but it also helps them resubscribe. So if you want, you can rename that to unsubscribe/resubscribe form, because it will do both, and I'll show you why. So we're going to integrate this form. We're going to copy this form link. And then we're going to hit back. We're going to go to marketing, triggered links, and we're going to add a link. We're going to name this link something that we're going to remember what it is so that when we're adding it to things, we know what link to look for. So this is going to be unsubscribe/re. Actually, it's just going to be the unsubscribe link. That's all it is. And we're going to paste that URL that we just copied. We're going to hit save. All right, now it's time to build out our automation. So we've got our link added. We're going to automation, create workflow trigger, continue. This is going to be our email, unsubscribe. We're going to wait for a trigger link to be clicked. That trigger link, we need to tell it which one. The trigger link is unsubscribe link. Save. And then we're going to look for the D&D again. Enable D&D. It's just on a specific channel. And that channel is email. Save. Publish. Anytime there's a green dot here, it means that you have work that has not been saved. I highly recommend you save frequently, especially when you're building out a really big automation, because if your internet crashes or for some reason you exit the workflow before saving, it will not save as you go. You have to save it manually with yourself as you go for now. We do have IT working on that as an added feature, but for now, just make sure you save anything and everything as you go. Okay, so now we've got an email unsubscribe, a text unsubscribe, but now we need an email resubscribe. So we're going to start again from scratch. This is going to be email resubscribe. And we're going to wait for, this time it's not a trigger link. It's actually a form because we created a form, but if they are unsubscribed, they're not going to click that green button that we created, which means they're not actually submitting the form. They're just going to it. If they click the green button, it is actually submitting the form. And that means that they want to resubscribe. So we're going to hit the form is unsubscribe and resubscribe form. And then we're going to do our D&D again. And then we're going to do disable D&D for specific channel. And that is going to be email. Now we need to do the same thing on our text. So we're going to go back. And first, let's add a step in here. Let's say that before we unsubscribe them, we want to tell them how to resubscribe. We're sorry to see you go. but we totally understand. If you'd ever like to resubscribe to Benson's SMS alerts, just text us start. Right? So that's going to go. They're going to reply stop. We're going to say, hey, we understand. If you ever want to get back in them, here's how you do that. And then it's going to take them off the list. Next, let's do our start subscribe. So this is going to be a reply, right? Because they have to physically text it in. Contains phrase. Start. And then we're going to look for our DND. We're going to disable DND because now they're saying they want the text messages. The channel is SMS. We're going to hit save, publish, save. And then you can even do an SMS here too if you want. Send SMS. Welcome back. We've missed you. Stay tuned for more Benson's news coming soon. Right? And then save. So we've already done quite a lot, and we're still not even done with our business profile. So let's go back to our settings and let's make sure that this is all set up properly. So we've already tackled all of these. We've already tackled all of these. You can turn these settings on and off if you want. I recommend you verify the email address. So you want that one on and validate the phone number. That makes sure that you don't get registered as spam, because if your emails keep bouncing and bouncing and bouncing and bouncing, it will actually revoke your privilege to send emails. We don't want that happening. So we want emails invalid due to hard bounce. We want to validate the phone number before we text them. Carriers also prefer this as well. And we do want to verify the email before we send. Now, verifying the email and phone number does cost money, but it's 0.0001. So it's 1,000th of a penny. So I wouldn't worry about the cost, because having the privilege revoked is going to cost a lot more than having to pay 1,000th of a penny to make sure it's an actual valid phone number and email. Next is the call and voice settings. We just found a new tool, which is super, super cool, so that if you don't want to record your own voice, you can actually duplicate your voice, or you can have somebody else's voice. So we're going to go to this voice clone. It's called 11 Labs right here. And I love ChatGPT. So let's use ChatGPT to figure out what our voicemail needs to say. So once you've used ChatGPT for a while, it just kind of gets to know the company and the voice and how to speak. If you need any help setting up your ChatGPT, that's a service that we can do. So just let us know. But let's say we need to create a voicemail when we miss a client's call. Write this for me. And I can give it really simple prompts like this because it's got thousands and thousands and thousands of data points for just this one company that have been entered into it. So it knows it pretty well. All right, so I like to copy this over here and then read it. Hello, you've reached Benson's Home Maintenance. We're sorry we missed your call, but your home's care is important to us. Our team is dedicated to providing top-notch service, and we'll be sure to return your call as soon as possible. In the meantime, feel free to explore our website at bensons.io to learn more about our services and memberships. Thank you for considering Benson's for your home maintenance needs. So that's a really good one, right? And that's, again, because ChatGPT, it wasn't just that one prompt. I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of entry points just for this one company. So I can be really generic at the end. If you're just starting, be really, really specific. Say, I want a friendly tone. I want a professional tone. I want a sarcastic tone. I want a whatever the tone may be. These voice settings, just toggle around with it until you find one that you like. But let's see what it spits out first.
Hello, you've reached Benson's Home Maintenance. We're sorry.
So that one sounds automatically too much like a computer.
Hello, you've reached Benson's Home Maintenance. We're sorry we missed your call, but your home's care is important to us. Our team is dedicated to providing top-notch service, and we'll be sure to return your call as soon as possible. In the meantime, feel free to explore our website at www.bensons.io to learn more about our services and memberships. Thank you for considering Benson's for your home maintenance needs.
So I like that one a lot. I'm going to hit download. I'm going to come back over here to our DallowryFlow tab. I'm going to upload. I'm going to find that audio that just downloaded, which is right here. I'm going to hit open. And incoming call timeout. We want it to be at least at 10 seconds if you want the phone to actually ever be answered. If you don't want the phone to be answered, you're going to do no timeout. If you want it to ring all the way through before it goes to voicemail, you'll do 20 seconds. I like mine to be on a 10-second because if we're not answering in the first 10 seconds, it's because we're with a client. So they should get the voicemail, and then we'll set up some auto campaigns later for reaching out. All right, next we're going to have it based on email first. So finding existing contacts. You don't want duplicate emails ever. And then the second preference would be phone. Now, obviously, people have multiple phone numbers, multiple emails. So if you want to allow duplicate contacts, that doesn't mean like Channing Gardner can't be in there twice. It just means info@dallowry.com cannot be in the system twice. So I recommend you don't allow duplicate contacts. For most clients, that's going to be the best way to go. And then you can enable missed call text back here. Preferably, we are going to actually install the missed call text back feature. We have a $150 setup for that. So if you'd like that, we can definitely dump that in. This is a really, really generic one that you can use, but we prefer to use one that's a little bit more custom. All right, so the step number 2 for setting up your DallowryFlow account is I always recommend that you go in and check on your staff. So you see here, you've got 2 different people here. We do need to change this phone number, right? Because we want to use the phone numbers that we purchased here, not the actual physical phone numbers of the person. So we're going to come copy this phone number that we purchased. And again, you can add a new number here. So if you don't have a phone number yet, you can add a phone number for SMS and calls. And then this is the only place that you'll go. And then from here, you'll decide if you want it local, which is listed right here, and you can narrow it down by the state, or toll free. Again, toll free is a little bit more expensive. Local's $1.72 in this case. Toll free is $3.22 in this case, but we do recommend you have one local and one toll free. So we're going to come back over to Ben Gardner's profile, and when we hit edit, it pulls up information like this. So I would go ahead and I would update this to the company's logo. So we're going to do that right now. A square logo works best. See how it's got no background, how it's grayed out? We do want one that has a white background because it can tend to show up weird sometimes if it does not have a white background. So see, now it has a white background. Okay, we'll leave the personal phone number there and we'll forward it on our settings. I would include a signature. You don't have to. And sometimes on the signatures, I'll leave a space right here because I like to change out my sign off. So sometimes it's sincerely, sometimes it's thank you, anything like that. Calendar, there's no specific calendar that we want listed here, but if Ben had his own calendar link, that is where you would select it here. Okay, if it's just a general calendar, you don't necessarily want that going out, don't put it in your signature. Next, user permissions, you can toggle on and off anything that you'd like. So you can make it where only the data, so for sales agents, this is really good, only assigned data. That means if they added the lead or you assigned the lead, they can see it. If they did not add it and you did not assign it, they can't see it. So they can't see anybody else's information. You can toggle on and off any settings that you would like to for the other person. So typically, if you're just getting started or your manager's just learning the system, it might be helpful to toggle off things that they're not going to use, or again, things that you just don't want them getting into. User roles, admin means they can change the settings. Okay, user means they can just enter the system. So make sure you select that really carefully. Call and voicemail settings. So now we can make a voicemail just for Ben. So we need a voicemail for Ben Gardner when he doesn't answer the phone from a Benson's client. And sometimes ChatGPT just takes a little bit to think. All right, copy, paste. This has been Gardner. with Benson's Home Maintenance. I'm sorry I can't take your call right now, but your home's well-being is our priority. Please leave your name, number, and a brief message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. In the meantime, you can visit our website at www to learn more information. Take care of your home maintenance soon. Look forward to speaking to you soon.
Hello, this is Ben Gardner with Benson's Home Maintenance. I'm sorry I can't take your call right now, but your home
Okay.
well-being is our priority. Please.
So that one sounds a little too robotic, so let's bump down the stability a little bit more and try again. And sometimes the word hello sounds weird, I've noticed.
Hello, this is Ben Gardner with Benson's Home Maintenance. I'm sorry I can't take your call right now, but your home's well-being is our priority. Please leave your name, number, and a brief message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. In the meantime, you can visit our website at www.bensons.io to learn more about how we can take care of your home maintenance needs. Thank you for choosing Benson's, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. This is Ben Gardner with Benson's Home Maintenance. I'm sorry.
Just keep going until you get the voicemail that you want. You can also record them. I just always tend to mess up at the very last.
This is Ben Gardner with Benson's Home Maintenance. I'm sorry I can't take your call right now, but your home's well-being is our priority. Please.
That sounded sarcastic.
This is Ben Gardner with Benson's Home Maintenance. I'm sorry I can't take your call right now, but your home's well-being is our priority. Please leave your name, number, and a brief message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. In the meantime, you can visit our website at www.bensons.io to learn more about how we can take care of your home maintenance needs. Thank you for choosing Benson's, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.
It's going to get even shorter.
This is Ben Gardner with Benson's Home Maintenance. I'm sorry I can't take your call right now, but your home's well-being is our priority. Please leave your name, number, and a brief message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for choosing Benson's, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.
Okay, that one's good enough. Come back over here. We're going to upload.
This is Ben Gardner with.
We're going to make it a 10-second. User availability. So this one, there actually is a specific day and time that he is available. So he's not available Tuesday or Monday or Friday. So it's just Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And his hours to take appointments are going to be 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So I just need to update each of these. Actually, let's apply all, save us some time. Use calendar configuration. We'll set that up later. So we're going to hit save. So that has now updated Ben's information on the system. Now on the phone numbers, this is where we're going to have it forward. So we're going to go to phone numbers. We're going to find this main line and we're going to make sure that it is forwarding to his phone number, which it is. So we are good there. The next thing that we want to do is look into our calendars. Make sure that we have our connections set up. We don't need to connect Stripe unless you plan to take payments, which in this case, we might end up taking like a deposit for an appointment, like a non-refundable deposit, something like that. Availability, that's coming soon. We're currently working on that. Preferences, do you want your week to start on Sunday? Do you want English? What's your time format? And your view options. When does your week start? All right, so first order of business, we are going to, next we need to create a calendar. This calendar in particular, we're going to assign to a particular person when the appointment is booked. So we're going to go to calendar settings. We're going to create a calendar. We're going to use a round robin. And that just means that it's going to book with one of our techs, but it can be a different tech every time. Okay, so simple calendar means that there is nobody assigned to it. Okay, it's just going to schedule it on the calendar, but it's not going to block anybody out. Round robin, it's going to block that one person out for that one meeting that it assigned to that one person. Class booking means that it is one person on your team meeting with several people. So that's really good for like a webinar or anything like that. Collective means it can be more than one team member. and more than one attendee. So we're going to do round robin because we just need one tech for one appointment. And this is going to be work order calendar. We're going to add a description because, again, this is for our schedulers. We are creating a work order calendar that our schedulers will use to schedule a tech for a client who has turned in a work order form that has been approved by the property manager. Please write a description of this calendar for our schedulers that will be helpful for them to know its use. Okay, now on the calendars, it's nice to keep in mind that typically only the top 3 sentences are going to be what shows when somebody's booking. The other thing to keep in mind is that anything you write in the description will be shown if it's a calendar that you're publishing on a website. So for instance, on our Dallowry website, when you come to our calendars that are published for scheduling, anything that you write here, that's the description. So the first 2 sentences are typically fully seen, and then you're going to have to click more if there's even more. But make sure that you're not putting internal communication here if it is going to be a client-facing calendar, okay? You just want to make sure that it is respectful and all that. So if it is going to be a client-facing calendar, you just want to make sure you're using client-facing communication style. If it's internal facing, then you want to make sure that it is more instructional. That's at least our advice for you. So here is a description. Let's copy and paste that over. Welcome to the work order scheduling calendar, an essential tool designed to streamline the processes. We don't really need that. As a scheduler, you play a crucial role in ensuring that each client's maintenance needs are promptly met, and this calendar is here to assist you achieve that. So the team members, we have the one Ben Gardner, the other one is technically a false account. So if you do have 2 separate logins for the same person, just make sure you name one appropriately so you can tell the difference. And this is going to be the slug at the end, work orders. Meeting duration, we only schedule at least 90 minutes at a time. It doesn't mean that it takes us a full 90 minutes, but we do want that buffer. Again, we can leave this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And here's why. We've already told the system that Ben is not available on Mondays and Fridays. And we've already told the system that Ben is only available from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. But that doesn't mean that our other techs share the same calendar as him. So we want the calendar to show the actual full availability. And then the calendar will check with the techs that are available and see who is open and who is available for scheduling. So you don't have to worry about any of that. Now, I want you to go and hit advanced settings and let's look at some of those additional features. I highly recommend that you have a calendar logo. This one does not. So you notice there's no logo in the top. There's no logo anywhere on there. It's just good branding to have your logo in a lot of different places. So you can do a square. So let's just do the Benson square. I recommend a white background. It does look weird if you have a PNG with no background. This group, we don't have any groups yet. So we'll do that in just a second. Work orders, here's why we do the advanced settings. This is the title of the meeting. So it's going to say the contact name, and then we need it to say also work order, right? Because that is what they're scheduling. If it just says the client name for any type of appointment that we book, our calendar is going to get really confusing really fast. So we're going to do work order. This meeting location, I'm actually going to teach you how to add the client's address into there. So we'll come back and do that. Now you can choose whatever color that you want for work orders. We're going to do green. Availability. Again, this needs to be the full calendar's availability. You can also do custom. So if it's an event that is a specific day of the month and it only happens once a month, you just do custom and you'd put the specific day and time for any events that are upcoming. You can schedule recurring meetings as well. So meeting intervals, this is when somebody's booking. Here on this right-hand side, you see 11, 11:30, 12, 12:30, 1, 1:30. That's 30-minute intervals. You could do 15-minute interview intervals. It means that if somebody books, like with this calendar, it's going to be 90 minutes. So if somebody books at 11 and I have it set on 30-minute intervals, then the next first available will show at 12:30. Okay. If I show 1 hour intervals, then the next one will show at 1. Okay, so that's just what that means. Minimum scheduling notice for us, it is 4 days. We have to have a 4-day notice before we will accept for even any tech, because we do allow our guys a really flexible schedule. Date range, we don't like to book more than a month out. And that's just because client schedules change. We have a lot more reschedules, no-shows, cancellations, all that stuff. Minimum bookings per day. So sometimes you're going to want this, other times you don't. So like for our software demo, I only like to do 2 to 3 personally per day. And that's because we get burnt out. We answer a lot of the same questions. So we just make more mistakes. We miss features, things like that. You can say, hey, we've got no maximum because we're going to keep hiring tech. So as long as there's a tech available, then go ahead and schedule them. That's really fine. That's what we're going to do here. Maximum bookings per slot, though, this is per user. So in our case, we wouldn't want 2 clients to be able to schedule with 1 tech at the same time. That wouldn't make much sense because he can't be in 2 places at once. So we need 1 maximum slot. Buffer time, this is how much time do you want in between the meetings? So this would be like your travel time. So let's do 20 minutes there. Now this is going to make our available slots shrink, because that means not only is the meeting 90 minutes, but we also just added 20 minutes in between. So every single one of our meetings that is scheduled is going to take up 110 minutes of our calendar's time, basically 2 hours, right? So keep that in mind when you add a buffer. But you want to add your drive time here in the buffer. You do not want to add your drive time in the meeting duration. Okay, you can add your buffer here. This is your drive time. Next is forms and payments. Now we already have a form, but we are not having the client fill out the calendar. Our schedulers are. So the only thing that we need is just the default: first name, last name, email, phone, notes. Okay. If the client was going to fill this out, for instance, on this right-hand side, if I was a client booking this, this is a form that was created because the client is the one booking the appointment. It's client facing. This one is internal, so we just want the default information. Okay. So now we can do sticky contacts. That just means that if you've already filled out a form for that client, it's going to recognize who that is. You have to fill it out less. For us, we're not going to do that, because if the client moves, we don't want it to accidentally add the wrong address, right? Next, consent checkbox. I confirm I want to receive content from this company. We don't need to do that as well, because we've already collected that in the work order form. This is an internal form, so we don't need it. If this was an external form, you would want it, because this is where it accepts the terms and conditions. Okay. We don't want them to be able to add guests to this scheduling. Now, once we get into training more techs, that might be an added section that we can do, but really that tech is going to be paired with one particular mentor. And so we don't need to add them as a guest, because wherever that mentor goes, that tech goes. Thank you for your appointment request. We need to change the language on this, right? So this is again, internal calendar. We're going to have it auto confirm new calendar meetings as well, because our tech should be giving us their availability. And if they're available, then we want it to go ahead and confirm that appointment. Notifications, we can do an acknowledgement email. We do want it to go to the contact, because again, the contact turned in a work form. They didn't book the appointment. So once we have booked the appointment, we need to let the contact know. And then we are going to assign it to a particular user as well. We can allow Google to send an invitation and assign contacts to their respective calendar team members. We are going to do that. So this just says that if it was scheduled to Ben, because he was the available tech, then the contact, Sue, is going to then be assigned to Ben, because he's the one with the upcoming appointment with her. Customizations, I recommend you keep it on Neo. This is the Neo calendar. It just looks cleaner, more modern. But you can also switch between allow the staff selection during booking. So if you have a manager who's on the schedule, you want them to get priority, they get all the first meetings if they're available, you can turn that on. Or round robin just means it goes in a system. Whoever's supposed to get the next appointment gets the next appointment based on their availability. Okay. So for now, we're just going to leave that off. We're going to allow it to just go round robin. So fair. We are going to allow for rescheduling, but we are going to allow for canceling, but we are not going to allow for reschedule. We do want the client to call us back. So we're going to save. For us, we need a particular location for each particular day, right? So if we just needed one round robin, we're good. But because we need specific location round robins, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to duplicate this. It copies all of those settings. Sometimes that loads a little weird. And then we're going to put this city name in front. Okay. And then we have to change this slug as well, because it's saying, hey, you already have that. You can't make it the same URL. That doesn't work. We're going to do OKC. We're going to do OKC. You can make your ones different colors, or you can keep them all the same. We're going to keep ours all the same. We're going to change the availability though. We are not going to go to OKC on Mondays and Tuesdays. So it's just going to be Wednesday, Thursday, and we're just going to do Wednesday and Thursday for now. Everything else is going to stay the same. So for 30-minute notice, 90-minute meeting, 4 hours day notice, 30-day range, 1 booking per slot, 20-minute buffer. Form is going to be the same. Acknowledgement emails are the same. Customizations are the same. So now we have a regular work order calendar, which this one we might just rename it to be urgent, because it's going to be every single day that it's available, which would be needed in an emergency situation. And now we don't have to change anything else on that calendar. Now we need an admin one. So again, I'm just going to duplicate it. And I'm going to change this to admin. And we're going to change this to admin. And we're going to change this to admin. We're going to change the availability to Monday and Tuesday. And everything else stays the same. Now you can also create groups of calendars. So I'm going to do that now. We're going to do work order calendars. We do need a description. And again, I know that sometimes it can feel like a lot, but I promise later when you get into more in-depth automations and customizations, you're going to be happy you have all these descriptions, all these unique slugs, all of these titles done properly, instead of just rushing through it. Save. So now what we can actually do is we can assign these to specific groups. So we're going to move to a group, work order calendars. You'll want to do this before you actually start booking any appointments inside of that calendar, okay? Because it will change the scheduling link. But I will show you why this is important in the future. So now when I go to groups, this is the link that we can send our schedulers. And now when they're looking at the client, they can look and say, is it urgent, or what city are they in? Okay, so that's why it's important. I don't have to send them 17 different calendars. I can now just send them this legacy link, right? And it's going to pull everything. It looks like our logo's not working. So let's find a different logo and we'll update all of these. Let's see if the OKC one's working. Let's go back. OKC. OKC's working. So let's go to remove, save. You have to save it and then you come down to this bottom tab here because it saves it as you go through the tabs of the calendar. Okay, Guthrie should be updated. Let's check. Nope. Guthrie is still not liking that logo. So let's remove, actually, let's refresh. There it is. Okay, now as far as the location goes, in order to make it what we call a dynamic, means it goes off of the client's information. We are gonna stay here in settings. So in our CRM, if we're in our account and we're going back to the beginning, we hit settings, we hit custom fields, and then we're gonna just look for street address. So here's contact street address. Okay, we're gonna copy this. And we're going to come back to our calendars. Again, we're still in settings, calendars. We're going to click on the work order, edit. We're going to come down to meeting location and we're going to paste. Okay, that's all you have to do. If our calendar is based on Oklahoma City, then by plugging in the address, the tech will know that the address is located in Edmond. So let's update all these. Save. So sometimes when you're messing with this kind of stuff, it just takes you playing with it and finding what works and what doesn't. And because what works for us might not work for you. Every calendar is just a little bit different. Here's the other thing to consider, that you can do high priority on these events and make them a different color if it's an urgent calendar. So like this one's our urgent work order. And this one, we might actually need a bigger buffer time because we're not optimizing based on location. And so let's also do 100 minutes. Okay. So let's refresh. See how this one's a different color now. All right, and now let's try again. Let's do Guthrie this time. Let's see if that does the trick. Thursday, August 31st. So we're going to go to work order calendars. Guthrie. And there, now it has the address. That is how you can have the client's address automatically added into the calendars as you input them. So now let's create the series of automations for this scheduler. So what needs to happen is first the work order comes in, and this is how you can think about automation. So this is going to be work order scheduling. So when a form is filled out, but which form? When the form is the work order form, we're going to send. Here's a good way to think about this. Get really familiar with all the different options. When you first start, you might not use this search action a whole lot because you're still getting to know what's available inside of automations. But as you build automations, you'll be able to search them. So external communication, this is anything going out to the client or out somewhere else, okay? Any kind of affiliate obviously is affiliate. CRM, this is anything internal. Right, so whether it's adding a contact tag, so we need to do that. Let's go ahead and add a tag. If you already have tags, they'll show here. If not, you can just type and hit add tag, work order needed, add tag, save. And then I always recommend, see how this says add tag? You can name this action. It makes it a lot easier when you need to come in and edit these later. You know exactly which box to click on to edit which item that you need. The other thing that you might consider is adding an if-then condition, right? Because we have work orders, but what if that work order is an urgent one, right? What then? So first we need to send a notification, an internal notification, and let's send a text. And we're going to send it to particular users. It's going to go to Ben, and it's going to say, hey, Ben, custom values. This inserts any of the information that we have. Now, if we don't have that information, it will just not show up, right? So if for some reason we didn't have the first person's first and last name, which we do because it's on the form, and this automation starts with the form submission, but let's say that we didn't, it would just say, hey, Ben, just turned in a work order. Okay, so if you make something optional on a form and somebody doesn't fill it out, and you have the custom field in a message going somewhere, it is not going to fill that information in. It will just be blank. So keep that in mind whenever you're building these things out. I recommend you use most of the things that you use here need to be required in the form. Okay, so hey Ben, contact just turned in a work order. Please review the details below. We're going to say address, contact user, this is going to be their address, and then we're going to do contact city, and then we're going to do contact. We don't need to do the state. And I might actually just put these in parentheses because it'll be easier to read in the text. Address, work needed, contact, anything that we add on to this contact. So here's all the stuff that comes with your CRM. If it's added to it, this is going to be work order ticket. So anything that they typed into that section of the form, it will come here. So we're going to save this for now. I'm going to do an if then. So if else, client added photos, contact details. We're going to look for the custom field, right? So here's our work order ticket, work order client photos. We're going to say if this is not empty. Okay, so the client did add photos or did not add photos. I'm going to copy this message here. Now, this is if they did have photos, right? Because this is the track that we're on. So we're going to say this client added photos with their work order submission. Please review the CRM for that additional information. And we're going to save that message. This is with pics, no pics. Please let our schedulers know the priority by clicking the correct link below. And then we're going to do urgent, not urgent. And I'm going to show you why in just a second. We're going to copy this. We're going to wait 30 minutes. And actually, we need to do this ahead of time too. And here's why, because what happens if somebody turns in a message at 1 a.m., right? We're not going to be able to get to it right then. So what we need to do is we need to wait Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll take calls on Saturday and Sunday, but it needs to be just or not Sunday, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5. Okay, so what happens is the work order is turned in, it's going to tag, and then it's going to wait until working hours. Then it's going to look and say, did they add photos or not? And then it's going to text. That way you don't get a text at 3 a.m. or any time like that. So we're going to wait here 30 minutes. And then we're going to send another text to Ben. now that you've had time to review, remember, if you don't put the customer's name, you're not going to know who it's talking about. Work order photos. Please let our schedulers know the priority by clicking the correct link below. And we're not going to publish this yet because we're still building it out, but I'm going to hit save. Now, you might be saying, well, where's this going to go? Or where's that going to go? We're going to build trigger links. Okay, so we've already done one. We're going to do it again. So the way that we need to do this is we need to create forms. So we're going to go to sites, go to forms, and then builder. We're going to add a form, start from scratch. Then we're going to add the text. We don't need to actually fill the information out, because once the nice thing is once the forms are put into automations, there's less and less client data that you need, because the system knows, because it's tracking the messages. The system knows what contact this action is tied to, right? So first, let's go ahead and name our form, and this is going to be a non-urgent work order. We don't need to worry about the message this time because we're not even adding a button. Thank you for letting us know. Thank you for letting us know that this work order is not urgent. Our schedulers will get the client on the calendar shortly. Okay, I don't like the 40 font, so we're going to make it smaller. We're going to make it go all the way across. And I'm going to actually capitalize this. We're going to bold it as well. And then we're going to save. Okay, so this is our non-urgent. We're going to integrate. We're going to copy the form link. Let's go make our trigger link. So we're going to go back out to marketing, trigger links. We're going to add. This is non-urgent work order. We're going to paste that link we just created. We're going to wait for that link to pop up. Okay, now we're going to go make our urgent work order. So we're going to save some time here. We're going to just duplicate this. Take out the non, take out the copy. Now we don't even have to name it. It's already going to be named. And now we're going to click on the text. And I'm going to make all of that capital. So I'm going to do bold is urgent. Save. Integrate. Copy. Done. We're going to go back. Marketing. Trigger links. Add a link. Urgent work order. All right, so notice those forms don't have anything for us to fill out. It's just creating a URL for us to create a trigger link. So now we're going to come back into here. And then we're going to come into our messages, right? Here's message number 1. Urgent. See this little trigger link? There's our urgent work order. And now non-urgent. We're going to save it. Do the same thing over here. Urgent, non-urgent. Easy peasy. Now we're going to wait. And this time we're going to wait until a trigger link is clicked. We're going to wait for this one or this one. Okay, and then we are going to do a timeout of 2 days, because remember, we said we would get the client scheduled or a message back to them within 2 days. Now you might be saying, well, what happens here? Because we're building on here. Because of this particular automation, once this text is out, it needs to go back to here because they follow the same path. So we're actually going to add if you scroll all the way down here to the bottom, there's a little go to. We're going to hit save and go to where? Go to here once it's done. All right. Internal text. This is follow up text after photo review. And this is what? Wait for trigger link or 2 days. Again, the more you name them, the easier it is to see what's going on in your automation. Now we're going to do an if else, right? Because we told it we need to wait until this happens. If else. So what are the ifs? One is it can be an urgent work order. And that would mean that the event that happened is this trigger link. The trigger link is urgent, was clicked. The second option is it's a non-urgent work order. And that's going to mean the event of the trigger link being clicked is non-urgent, right? What's the third option? Nobody clicked the trigger links. So we're just going to hit save because here is no trigger links were clicked, right? That means that nobody followed up. So what happens at that point? We need to send a notification, but maybe this time we send it to somebody else or somebody and somebody, right? So if we do particular user, we're going to text Ben again. And we're going to say, hey, Ben, we still have not scheduled customer's name because we have not received your classification back yet. Please click the correct link below. Urgent, non-urgent, urgent, non-urgent. Save. All right, now we need it to look, once this happens, internal notification, this is going to be the final text to Ben. Is basically what we need to say. If we do not hear back in the next day, we will go ahead and schedule the client on a non-urgent calendar. Okay, so now you might be saying, well, then what? Well, then we're going to wait. So instead of rebuilding all this, why don't we just copy all actions from here. We're going to paste it here, and then we're just going to edit what we need to. So we're still going to wait for the trigger links. This time we're just going to wait 1 day. And then we still need it to look for all this stuff. We just don't need it to text him after. And then let's just change this to 1 day here. So it reflects the actual timeout. Timeout just means if this action isn't taken by this time, go ahead and move on. That's all a timeout means. All right, so now you can see how complicated this automation's getting, but we want it to do a lot of different things. We want it to have our back, and we want it to do the most of the heavy lifting for us, right? So that's what the computer's doing. We're telling the computer what we need it to look for so that it's only giving us the information that we need so that we can process the action. We don't need all the information. We don't need to be the most important person. We need the systems and the processes to be the most important feature of our business, not us. So that's what automation does. Now, right, so let's add a staff member. Let's add a scheduler. So for now, it's just going to be Ben because we haven't added the staff in yet. But let's add the bin admin, right? So this is an urgent work order. We have an urgent work order calendar. So once the trigger link, right, this is waiting. And then if it comes here, it means that it was Ben told the system, this is a urgent work order. So what needs to happen is immediately a message needs to go out. And really, this one can go out directly to the client. The client can book their own appointment because it's still going to give us a 4-day notice. So we're going to hit this plus button here. And before we send an email, I always recommend that you utilize email templates. And the reason being is if we create an email in here, if we hit send email and we type a message here, and then anything with this message needs to change, we have to come find every single one of these individual emails in every single one of these automations. Where instead, if we come to marketing and we hit templates and we create an email template, we can use for designer or code, or you can hit new and you can do email marketing templates. And then you can just kind of look at what different options there are. So let's look at some of the home service ones. And I might still just start from scratch. Let's use this one. We're going to hit continue. It's adding the template into our system. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the colors. So if I click, see that's a background color. So if I click on that element, I can update the color here. 1F385D. I'm going to update this logo by clicking on it, hitting this little pencil. I'm going to upload from media library. You see there's nothing in here. All I have to do is hit upload file, select the file that I want, double click it, and then if I double click it again, it will add that file in. Now that file doesn't have a background, so maybe instead I need to do our white. Now you can see it, right? I'm going to do the same white on the background here, F8, F9, F8. I'm going to leave this one a blue, but I'm going to make it Benson's blue, 1F385D. And I like to start with that and making sure the color scheme is proper. You can also update the image size by dragging here, or you can do it by going here. So let's take that back out. See, it's 500 by 200. If I do 300 by 100, I like the look of that. So you can kind of play with it several different ways. I recommend that you do link anytime your logo is in something, link your website as well. So if you have your website attached onto your profile, it will automatically add it here. And then just for SEO purposes, get in the habit of anytime there's alternative text. That just means that it's handicap friendly for the images. You want to add it here. So we're going to put Benson's home care. Now, you don't have to do most of that, but best practices. So I would recommend it. Next, I like to focus down here on the first email because since I like this, once I template it, I'm just going to duplicate this for a lot of other emails so I don't have to do as much work. So remember, we have an unsubscribe email link that we made earlier. We're going to highlight this and we're going to hit this little link text and we're going to hit the link list and we're going to make it the unsubscribe. It's going to automatically update this trigger link for you. And then we're going to hit save. Now it's going to actually complete that automation that we built at the very beginning of setting up your account. Okay. Next, I do not like this blue. This is not our brand color. So let's change it. 38744B. I like the buttons to be full width. And let's see, this font, I'd prefer it to be big. And let's schedule my service. So now we're going to change the message. Again, I'm going to use ChatGPT. I'm going to say, we need to draft an email to our client. This email will go to them after they have turned in a work order. And our team has reviewed it and marked it as urgent. We want to encourage them to book their own appointment, but let them know that if an appointment is not booked in 2 days, that we will select the next available time. Okay, while that is working, let's go ahead and save again. Remember, if it's flashing up here, it's not saved. Let's go change, because now that I'm thinking about it, our calendar for our urgent, we don't need 30 days out. That is way too far in the future if the matter is urgent. So let's go back to our availability. See this 30-day range? We really need it to be 7. And a minimum scheduling notice probably just needs to be 2. And let's go ahead and save that. And let's make it 10 scheduling days. All right. We're going to go all the way to customizations and hit save. The other thing that you might consider doing is right here on the urgent one, we might actually want to accept payments eventually. We still need to connect our payment gateway, but once that was connected, we could actually accept a deposit for urgent meetings. So let's go back to our marketing. Let's go back to our emails and then templates. And let's click, you can click on the name or you can click on the pencil here. I like clicking on the name. All right, ChatGPT is done. Here's our subject. So we're going to copy that. When we go back to DallowryFlow, you see these 3 dots in the corner here. I recommend you always, always, always fill all 3 of these spots out at a minimum, right? So we're going to go account. This is just who the business is from the business email. Or let's do this, copy, paste. From the business name, from the business email, and here's the email subject. And the reason why is when you put it into automation, you don't have to fill that information out every time you use this email. It's already done. You already know what the email is about. So it's already done. Next, let's go ahead and copy here. And we're going to paste here. Now, I don't like the size of that font. It's very small, so let's bump it to 16. Dear, we need to take this out and replace it with our information. So we're going to click on these 3 little dots. And this little thing, basically, it looks like it's filling out the line for you. That's because it's filling out the line for you. We're going to do first name. So, dear contact, we hope this message finds you well. We have received your recent work order and have identified it as an urgent. I would capitalize this and I would bold it and underline. Urgent based on the nature of the request. Our team has reviewed your request and is ready to promptly address the issue to ensure your home's continued comfort and safety. To expedite the process, we encourage you to take advantage of our convenient online booking appointment system. By scheduling your appointment directly, you have the flexibility to choose a time that works for you best. Simply follow the link below to secure your preferred time. So we can add the appointment calendar here. So we're going to save. We're going to go grab that appointment calendar, right? So we're going to go back. We're going to go to calendars. Now, remember, we're just working in the urgent calendar, a very specific calendar. So we're going to come find that specific calendar. We're going to hit the 3 links and we're going to hit copy scheduling link. We're going to go back to our emails and that's what we're going to dump in. So we're going to click here. And I'm going to type words. Right, so I'm going to do bold and underline, book, appointment. Now, some people will read and some people just skip to the buttons at the bottom. So you kind of want both options available. While we have this link copied, we're also going to put it here. So we're going to click on the button. Here's our link URL. We're going to paste it. Okay. Please note that if an appointment is not booked within 2 days, we're going to put from today. And we're going to put the date in, which is really cool. So we can do custom value right now. And we can choose the time, the whatever. So we're going to do, let's do month, day, year. Okay. That way it says from today, and the date's going to be on the email anyways, but this just covers us a little bit more. We will proceed to select the next available time for you. We understand the urgency of your request and want to ensure that your needs are met in a timely manner. Thank you for entrusting Benson's with your home maintenance needs. Our team is dedicated to providing you with the efficient and reliable service. If you have any questions or require further assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out to our customer support team at, this is going to be that account phone number. We don't need them to reach out to the email. We look forward to serving you and resolving your maintenance needs promptly. Best regards. This is going to be contact user full name. And then it's just going to say Benson's Home Care. All right, so there is our email. It's going to automatically add all this information in. Now we don't need this image, so I'm just going to hover. I'm going to hit delete, and then I'm going to save. So there's our email. We need to rename it. This is going to be urgent work order email. And I'm going to just save one last time just to make sure. We're going to go back. Let's go to our automation, right? So one, we want the urgent request being scheduled to a scheduler, right? So for now, this is going to be, we're going to assign a user, and that user is going to be the admin of this. Okay, we're going to save. That way, when that email sends, it says assigned user, username, it's going to insert whoever you put here. Okay, so on urgent work orders, we want it to assign a person first, and then we're going to send the client an email. And this email, we don't have to worry about any of this because we already did that in our template. And look how beautiful that is. It just fills it right out for us. Now, what's the caveat? We told them we were going to wait. And what are we waiting for? We're waiting for an appointment. So we can go contact details. And actually what I like to do with an appointment lookup is create an automation for it, right? So now we have a new automation to track. So when we're back here in the work order scheduling, right, we've sent them an email that says we're going to book you in 2 days. So we're going to wait until a condition is met and that contact, it's actually going to be let's just do a straight time delay. 2 days. If else. Urgent work order booked. So if the workflow contact is active in the urgent appointment reminders, then they have booked their appointment. If not, then we need to book their appointment for them. So that's the end goal, right? That they did that action. So we are on that track. So now you have a better idea of how automations work, how unique you can make every single one of these automations, how to optimize them to be able to look at them overview. All right, so first order of business, we are going to take care of this work order. So this work order is going to be a form. Forms are found under sites. So you go to sites, form, and then add form, and we're going to start from scratch. Now, again, first thing we want to do is we want to name it because we are not going to remember what form number 6 is. All right, so work order form. First thing we need to know is who is it going to be attached to, right? So we need a first name and we need a last name. We need an email. And again, if you want them in a different order, just drag and drop. And we need a phone. It's automatically going to have a terms and conditions. If it doesn't for some reason add that, you'll definitely want to add it yourself. The reason for this is it's giving you permission to call, text, and email them. It's basically just making sure that legally you have the right to communicate with the client. You'll always want to add your button as well for these kind of situations. So I go ahead and add that on just so I don't forget. Again, just drag and drop them until they're in the order that you want. I like my buttons full width. So I'm going to go click on the button. I'm going to make it full width. I'm going to make this the Benson's blue. Now in Canva, we've created what's called brands, which saves the color codes for us. So we know exactly what the Benson's blue color is. So I'm just going to copy that code here, 1F385D. Now it's Benson's blue. I like the text to be all caps and I like it to be larger. So I'm going to come down here to the text. I'm going to make this probably a 24. Yeah, like that. We're going to hit save. Now, you can make whatever fields that you want required. So we want first name required, last name required, email and phone because we do need to be able to communicate with them. Now, the other items in this form in particular is going to be the address, right? So we need, and actually we might make the email. No, we need the email. So you can just toggle those off or on if you want. We do need the address, the city, the state, and the zip code. Now I call it zip code, so I'm going to come in here and change it to zip code because I don't like postal code. You can get rid of the placeholders here. It's kind of repetitive, right? We just need the title, not the thing in the middle. Makes the form look a little bit cleaner as well. Now, the other way you can make this form a little bit shorter is if you come over, if you click outside of any of these areas and you hit the style and options, under style, you can do what's called an inline form, and that's just going to shrink your form up, which just makes it look a little bit cleaner. So what you can do is now let's go into looking at custom fields, right? So we need to know what work they need done at this address. So we might start by adding a custom field and let's make it a multi-line. We're going to hit next. And we're going to say work order picket. And see how there's not a group here? I'll teach you how to add one later, but when you're in a form, don't worry about it necessarily. Just stick it someplace. Like for now, I'm just going to put it in additional info. And I'm going to hit save. And it's going to take just a little bit, but then that new custom field is going to pop up right here. And when I drag and drop it over, it is now on my form. Okay, so we need name, phone number, email, address, city, and notes. Now, the other thing is we might actually end up removing this city because we need a particular set of customizations. But maybe what we'll do is let's just stick with this for now. So that's a pretty generic work order form. We're going to hit save. And then we're going to hit back. All right, so that completes building of the work order. So we're going to save this. Let's go use one of our templates, make it super easy on ourselves. So we're going to create a workflow. I like appointment confirmation, reminder survey, and review request. It just is the whole kit and caboodle. So when an appointment is booked, and this one we can do urgent appointment reminders, save, You can come in and change these confirmation emails and all that. We don't need the time zone for custom value, appointment, start date at our tech, and we're going to come to your home at, and then we're going to do appointment location to service your work order needs. Save. We're going to wait 24 hours before the appointment. I like always to tag. I'm going to add a contact tag, appointment booked, add tag. Reminder email, your appointment is in 24 hours. We're going to say that the tech, so we're going to go appointment, assigned user, will send you a text when they are on their way to your location. Save. It's going to text them as well, just a friendly reminder that let's put in here, work order appointment. Let's do the same maybe here, your Benson's work order appointment. Benson's work order appointment. Okay, 1 hour before the appointment, right? By this point, the tech should be either already on the way to the location or be prepping for their time to go to the location. So here's where we want to do another trigger, right? So again, best way to create a trigger link, if you don't have a specific link that you're trying to trigger to, is create a form. So we're going to create a form, sites, form, builder, add form, start from scratch. We're going to just add text because we're just building a trigger link. We've let the customer know, client know. We've let the client know that you are on your way. Thanks for the update. We've let the client know that you're on your way. We need to rename it. Tech on the way. Tech on the way. Integrate, copy form link. Done. We're going to go back to our marketing tab, trigger links, add a trigger link, tech on the way, and save. Let's go back to that automation. Work order scheduling. Actually, we're here, urgent appointment. 1 hour before, we're going to send an internal notification. It's going to go as an SMS to the assigned user, because remember, in our last automation, when the appointment is booked, it's going to automatically assign a user. And we need to know who the user is because we need to know who to send the text to. Who needs to tell the client that they're on their way. We're going to go appointment, meeting location. It's just going to be in the city. I'm on my way, trigger link, tech on the way. Save action. Tech on the way, text. Save. When an appointment is booked, we're going to assign, actually it will automatically assign. So we're going to publish that and update that. Next is the external client portal. That's going to be on sites, which is client portal, and then branding. You just click down there. Portal name, this can be Benson's Hub. Portal descriptions is Benson's client portal. Oops. And I'll probably do Benson's Hub client portal. Brand color is going to be that Benson's blue 1F385D. And color 2, I think I'm going to do the Benson's green. So that's going to be E8744B. Favicon, and all this is going to be the same kind of ratios, right? So here's a 1 by 1, 1 by 1, and 1 by 1. So these are all going to be the same. So here's one, portal image, and the logo. Support email, who do they reach out to if they have trouble? And copyright of Benson's. Save. All right. Now we've created the external client portal. Next, we need an internal chat. This is called a community. So under memberships, if you want a team chat similar to Slack or anything like that, you come to communities and that's where you'll build them. We're going to create a group. And let's just ask ChatGPT what we should name this group. We are creating an internal chat for Benson's techs, schedulers, and managers. What should we call the chat? And write a brief description for me. We also need to know what different channels inside the chat to create. So again, you can use what ChatGPT gives you. You can come up with your own. I just prefer, saves me a little bit of mental space so I can think deeper in the automation space. So I am going to take its suggestion and we're going to copy this name and drop it here. It's going to automatically create that group as a URL, but you can always change it. So like, I don't want an apostrophe. It makes it harder to remember what the slug is. A slug is just the back end of a URL. And then I don't want the home care hub. I just want it to be Benson's Hub. Okay, just makes it easier to remember what that URL actually is. Let's copy this and read it over here. Welcome to Benson's Home Care Hub, your central communication platform for our dedicated techs, skilled schedulers, and efficient managers. Stay connected, collaborate seamlessly, and ensure every home gets the care it deserves. This hub is designed to streamline our operations, share updates, troubleshoot efficiently, and maintain the highest level of service for our valued clients. Let's work together to make home maintenance. Let's take out that last one. You don't need that. Branding colors, again, I'm going to use the Benson's blue. So that's 1F385D. I'm going to use a favicon and it gives you the ratio here, right? So ratio, this just means it needs to be a square. It's a 1 by 1. So we have square logos already created for Benson's. If you don't, just use ChatGPT. 500 by 500 is perfectly fine. So I'm going to use this one here. That's a 500 by 500. Now on the cover image, when you're in Canva, if you search presentation, it's going to give you a 16 by 9 option. Presentation, 16 by 9. There we go. I like to just start with blank and then I let it show me templates here on the left-hand side. This is just the background of your stuff. So it's not client-facing if it's an internal chat. If it's an external chat, it is going to be client-facing. It's basically what they see when they log in. So this is going to be Benson's Hub. And I'm going to make it actually go on this side. Yeah, I like the way that looks. So we're going to file, download it as a PNG. And then I'm going to come insert it here. So I'm going to go to my downloads, Benson's Hub. Then logo 200 by 200, a 500 by 500 works as well. So we're going to use the same type of logo for that section as well. We're going to create the group. So this is now our new group. We can add a channel here, which is what we're going to do. We're going to use ChatGPT's recommendations on what channels to have. So let's look at what options we've got. Let's do a general chat. And you can change the little emblem here. So we'll just do home on that one. Scheduling, calendar, create, and actually, if you want to, you can actually enter a description. It has to be really short. Scheduling, service appointments, rescheduling, and daily schedules, calendar. Let's do support practices. This I would do like a briefcase. We can do a tips and tricks. That might be fun. Servicing. Okay. Marketing and promo. Okay, so now we have created our chat. I'm going to move this back over here. And now you see there's that little image that we created. Here's the favicon that we added. So when we go to log in, this is what it will look like when we're all logged in. The nice thing too is you can create courses. So if you have like specific training material for that community. So internally for Benson's, this might be training for maintenance techs, training for schedules, training for managers, how to operate the calendar, what to do when a client does X, Y, and Z, right? And then it also will give you a list of people that are inside of that group as well. As far as inviting everybody, there's your paste right here. So you just copy this group URL and you would text it for people to create a username and login. We are working on the back end, a invitation to these communities. Right now, though, they do have to manually be invited via the link and manually create an account. So that is in the works for you, but that is how you create an internal community.